Hello and welcome to Ageless Rock. Today, we are going to check out a small monument in Kidron Valley of tombs. This megalithic monument is a structure still open for debate as to what it is for. In order for us to understand this monument, we have to understand a little bit of biblical history. Kidron Valley is definitely a valley of megalithic monuments, but I cannot say for sure it is a valley of tombs. This monument created out of bedrock is also known as monolith of Silwan. Silwan is a place also famously known as Siloam, where you can find the famous pool of Siloam. So at this point, I'm sure we are all asking, who is this Pharaoh's daughter? Guess what? We don't have a name for her. This daughter is married to King Solomon, who was the son of King David. King Solomon had 700 wives and she was one of them. In fact, she is the only one directly mentioned in the Bible. This Pharaoh's daughter is not just a normal princess. She is the one who picked up baby Moses in a papyrus basket found floating by the river. She asked a Hebrew to nurse Moses until Moses is old enough to be given back to her. Here is a simple chart to help you understand who is who in this simple story. David defeated Goliath and became a king later in life. He had a son who became King Solomon. He had 700 wives and 300 concubines, but only Naamah was mentioned with a name. They had a son who later became King Rehoboam. An unnamed Pharaoh had an unnamed daughter married King Solomon. Not much is mentioned other than the importance of the marriage where Israel and Egypt was united through this marriage. From this story, it is very hard to see the connection how this monolith has anything to do with the unknown Pharaoh and his daughter ended up in Israel. If she was ever buried here, I think the Jews would not need someone from Europe to tell Moses' foster mother was buried here. Despite the history of approximately 3,500 years, Mount Zion and its surrounding were pretty sparsely populated not too long ago. So you can imagine when King David was around, it wouldn't look too busy. Today, there are a lot of tombs because when the Messiah comes back, his feet will be on Mount Olives, and they wanted to be the first to be blessed. This monument is barely the concept of a tomb to me. It has a large opening that looks like a door which you might have to climb in. But the door-looking entrance is right in front of the bedrock cliff, making it rather dangerous even though it is one-time use. But the mysterious random rectangular hole is a clue to me that a civilization we are not familiar with was here first. The flat top roof, which looks like a machine cut quality and precision, is believed to be for a pyramid top. The remnants seem to suggest that, but it is not a solid evidence. Because it is believed to have a pyramid top, it is therefore linked to Pyramid of Egypt. Because there is a possibility of an Egyptian connection, it is believed to be Pharaoh's daughter. So far, nothing is rock solid about this tomb, let alone related to Moses' foster mother from Egypt. The evidence people don't pay much attention to this monument is that the area is littered with garbage from surrounding Muslim neighborhood. Mysterious monoliths are not limited to Israel alone. You can find them at Gunung Kawi Temple in Indonesia, Takhti Rustam Monastery in Afghanistan, Dakmawi Church in Ethiopia, and many more. They all have one thing in common. No one actually knows how it got there. The history is so vague, it is as good as a wild guess. The function is clearly interpreted by those who live around that region. This whole idea of a pharaoh's tomb comes from a French orientalist and archaeologist by the name Louis Félix de Saulcy. It was a 19th century hypothesis that this was the temple built by King Solomon for his Egyptian wife. It was used by a Byzantine hermit who lived inside the monument. But when archaeologists dated this site to somewhere between 9th and 7th century BC, the idea of a relationship to Egypt seemed to have faded away. However, the story of Pharaoh's Daughter's tomb survived until today because it remains an interesting story to modern-day tourists. The only structure inside is a stone bench. It is believed to be for a temple. Now that it is believed to be a tomb, the stone bench is now believed to be a base of a sarcophagus of a tomb. From bench of a temple to sarcophagus of a tomb is a belief. I believe this place needs a good cleanup. If you remove all the constructions done since 1000 years ago, there will be nothing much on the top, and I guarantee you it will look just like any megalithic sites around the world. Those who believe this is a tomb will probably come up with more tombs of biblical character in the future. Although this is a fabulous story of an Egyptian princess married to a Jewish king, therefore uniting Israel and Egypt, there is no archaeological and historical record that there is such a princess or such an event ever took place. However, this place definitely has other megalithic caves which mainstream will call it tombs. There are many niches along the cliff of the bedrock. Currently, it is called tombs, and the bodies were all stolen. I also want to draw your attention to the yellow box, where you can see a row of rectangular holes which I loosely call it gear track marks. Here is another photo of 3 niches and gear track marks as well. You can find this tool mark in other megalithic sites from other parts of the world. If it is on the floor, archaeologists will say it is to break the bedrock. If it is on the wall vertically, then it is for climbing. But if it is horizontally on a wall, there isn't any explanation. The only good thing about this cliff is that it is a great place to throw garbage. It is great as landfill for squatters living above the bedrock. I wish ancient Israelites carved a huge hole so that 2000 years later, squatters can use it as a landfill. Here are the 2 of the many sites around the world with similar gear track marks. Saptaparni caves in India and Mo Kao grottos in China should be an eye-opener for everyone to see that this is a tool mark of an unknown civilization that were here first before we used them as tombs or temples. Just take a look at this photo taken in 1844. It was less than 200 years ago that this place looked like a countryside. How you imagine this was a city bustling with economic activities is up to you. But I can imagine 2000 years ago, there wouldn't be much to see except for megalithic caves and tunnels. When photography was still in black and white, this place was very much unpopulated. The properties above were constructed by Jewish philanthropists for poor Jews who came from Yemen. Mount Zion, Mount of Olives, and Mount Moriah were all pretty much like a countryside. For now, this masterpiece of monolithic work of art is promoted more as Monolith of Silwan rather than Tomb of Pharaoh's Daughter. This area is said to have approximately 50 ancient tombs, and some are used as homes, cellars, or storage rooms. Well, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this short presentation on Tomb of Pharaoh's Daughter and have a wonderful day. This is Berniong signing out. Lahi Traot.